Hey guys, I've got Emma Loney keen and ready to jump on. Just before we get you to the interview, you can see below, if you are a pageant entrepreneur, then head over to our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/the pageant boss. The link is in the description below. And now let's get you to the interview. Hey everyone, it's Adrian from the Pageant Project. Let me just make sure I've unmuted Emma. Our special guest for today is the aforementioned Emma Loney. Emma, welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. I've been following the Pageant Project for a while now, so it's really an honor to get to be here today and talk to you.
Well, thank you for following, first of all. Secondly, I understand from your story that you're taking a break from finals study to sit down and do the interview with us today.
Yes, so I had my constitutional law exam yesterday, and I have torts law on Friday, so just taking a little break, getting a little pageant in the middle of it, and then back to studying. So finals for law school is extremely demanding and time consuming, so it's good to take a break.
For the uninitiated, can you please explain what a tort is? Because every time I hear the word tort, the person explains it to me, and I swear I just forget what it is. So what is a tort?
Torts are like everything that you could sue somebody for that's like minor. So it's not like you sometimes they can be also criminal, but it's a less like burden of proof to prove a tort. Um, so negligence, for example, is a very big
Right.
tort. Like negligent driving, you might not get arrested for negligent driving, but you can be sued by somebody that you injure for driving negligently. And the burden of proof is different than in criminal court, it's civil court. And I don't know, does that help a little bit? That's like
It
how I
does.
kind of think about it. Because yeah, it's a really like gray area that isn't necessary. Like you're not going to jail if you're found guilty of a tort, but you're paying money for
Right.
the for the most part.
Okay. Okay. My brain is hurting a little bit even thinking about it. I mean, bear in mind it's only gone 6 a.m. here, so my brain hasn't
Yes,
quite
I
kicked
bet.
in.
I bet.
But we're getting there. Emma, let's start with the easy question. Let's start with how you got involved in the crazy world of pageantry to begin with.
So my story starts like so many people I've talked to. I got a letter in the mail and I was in high school. I was 16 and a big system in the United States is National American Miss for younger girls. So that was the system. And I go to my mom and I've got my letter and I'm like, please let me do this. And she's like, we don't know anything about pageantry. Oh, how are we going to do this? And I'm like, let's just try it. And I wore a big prom dress for the first pageant. Didn't know what I was doing, but I ended up placing the top 10. So that was what I was like, wow, this is something that I could be successful at. Um, and not to mention the amazing women that I ended up meeting um,
Mm.
that were so similar to me. You know, you go through school, high school, whatever, and you're surrounded by people. But when you get in the niche of pageantry and you see all these women that have huge dreams like you do, are really outgoing, well spoken, it's just a community like nothing that I had experienced before. So that's the combination of, you know, doing well the first time as well as the community I found really pushed me to keep going.
I think that's a very good point. I keep telling people I don't know any other community that brings so many women together from different parts of the world very often, but they all have amazing goals. It's a bit weird to me. I don't know if you found this. I have a pageant friend here in Australia who's very tall, very glamorous, and
Mm.
she'll post a photo of herself at the beach. But whenever she mentions her job, there are people who literally comment, "What, you actually have a job?" Like it boggles their mind to think that someone, a pageant girl actually has a job or is
Yes.
going for a degree or has a doctorate. Have you ever come up against that?
Yeah, so it's actually been something I've been struggling with a little bit, knowing, where to draw the line between modeling I do, pageantry, and then
Mm,
hoping to have my Juris Doctor degree in 2 years, um, and passing the bar exam and being a licensed attorney. It's just in the past, the worlds have not really collided, but now with women
mm,
being so progressive, they really are. And having had a former Miss USA as an attorney has really made me realize like it's okay, I can do both. Um, as well as I actually made a post a few days ago addressing this because we've had a few guest speakers that have said, "Oh, clean up your social medias, make sure there's nothing, no swimsuits, nothing." And I'm like, well, I'm not going to completely change who I am and what I stand for in fear of not being taken seriously because of the things that I do that I'm really proud of and things that I really stand behind. So I'm just going to continue to do both, um,
hmm
and push for what I believe in.
Why, just out of interest, and I've had that the clean up your social media conversation with
Hmm.
a lot of people, if I'm honest, over the years. Why do you think that is kind of still an issue? I mean, I get that the advice sort of comes from a well-meaning place, although, as I say, the path to hell is paved with good intentions. Why
Right.
do you think people are still giving that advice? It does seem a bit old-fashioned to me.
I think there is validity to it to a certain extent.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have inappropriate things on your social media, and that's where the gray
Yes.
area is what is
Yeah.
deemed inappropriate. Um, but obviously, like no nudity, um, nothing that's. I think the biggest thing is to not be posting things that are going to be hurtful or harmful to other people. I think that's
hmm
a very clear area. But then when it comes down to what's inappropriate and what's not inappropriate, people have very different views of that. Someone in a bikini might like a picture posted in a bikini might be extremely inappropriate to one person and totally normal to another person. So I don't love the conversation, especially as a person that's really put a lot of work into my social media, and I have
Yeah.
grown my platform over the years. And hearing a man, older
Yep.
lawyer, give a presentation of specifically addressing women in law about cleaning up their social media, and saying don't have any photos with shirts that are showing any cleavage or anything. It just seems very sexist to me, and
Yeah.
something we need to really be mindful of because women can do both. They can be beautiful and sexy, but also intelligent and respected.
I was going to ask whether the conversation was started by a man because that was
It
my
was.
instinct that it would have been started by a man. But yeah, I tell teenagers, the younger pageant queens, very often that, sexy is okay, but
Mhm.
sexualized is not.
Yes.
It's a very fine line. I mean, to your point,
Mhm.
and depending on what culture, what country you're from, bikini may never be appropriate in some countries where the woman is expected to, be fully dressed at all
Mhm.
times. But I don't understand the idea that, because to me it puts the responsibility back on the woman for the man's emotional responses, which I think is a key
Mhm.
underlying problem we have in society. That, oh, you're supposed to cover up so that I don't feel a certain way. Whereas I believe the conversation much more should be what's appropriate for me. And then obviously, as you said, you don't go and post nudes if you want to go into law, most likely. But have you found? I mean, you could. You never know.
Right.
But have you found that the frustrating conversations, or you found a similar frustration as myself, that it seems to be
Yes.
women, you need to do this, so
Yes.
that men
Because
don't do that?
exactly, and it's like a perpetuating conversation. Um, Even in like criminal activity, like victim blaming, it's always going back to the
Mm,
woman and how it's the woman's fault. So I think, yeah, like you said, it always gets put back on the woman. Oh, don't share this because you need to make sure other people don't feel a certain way. And yeah, being in law, it's always, I've never heard this conversation from a woman. I've never had it like the guest speaker
Hmm.
situations as a woman coming in, because the conversation, quite frankly, would go differently. We had a
Mm.
guest speaker that half of my class ended up leaving because it was so overtly sexist, um,
Wow.
which was really frustrating because, you know, being in law, um, there is the expected degree and level of professionalism, as it is a
Mm.
professional degree, a professional career. But at the same time, yeah, like you said, putting it all the expectations on women to make other people feel comfortable isn't our job. And we should be able to freely express who we are, what we believe in, and what makes us feel good without fear of not being able to get a job that we want, or fear of any repercussions from society.
100%. Guys, I can see a lot of you watching. So if you haven't watched any of my interviews before, this is a live interview for a reason. So you can comment, send any messages of support for Emma or any questions you have. Sarah Lee Parr here has said hi.
Hi. Hi.
So, okay, Emma, can you hear me?
Yeah, you were frozen for a second, but you're back.
Yeah, welcome to my Australian internet. I told you every interview I have has technical issues. I just roll with it by now. Um,
Honestly, right? That's
just
all you can do.
Yeah, just a quick question about, so roughly what percentage of your student body, not your student body, but roughly what percentage of your class would be female? And then roughly what percentage of the law fraternity as an industry is female, just out of interest? And which way is it trending?
So my class is, I want to say 60, 55, 60% female.
Right,
So
okay.
my class currently has more females than males, which is really new. Has not been
Mm,
something, it's a new thing that more women are becoming involved in law. Because in the past, law, legislation, um, Senate, president, everything has been male dominated. So all of
yeah,
these fields are starting to have more women becoming involved. And I think it's really awesome. As far as the law profession, um, I'm not sure. I think it still is male dominated. But I think
yeah.
with the influx of women that are choosing to attend law school, getting to law school, working really hard in law school, that is going to change.
We hope. We assume
We
so.
hope. We do
Uh,
hope.
Emma, I want to draw your attention to, well, this is the post that you put up, and this is the
Mhm.
post that I first became acquainted with you, and I'm sure you're familiar with this post by now, and you've had many, many comments on it.
Yes.
So I believe, I can't remember. I was thinking just this morning, who was it that shared this post, and it really got me to look. I think it might have been an Australian queen over here, and I'm not going to get you to go through all of it again because I'm sure people can read this and follow this, and you've talked
Yeah.
about it before. But can you give me an idea, give the people an idea watching and listening, an idea what your response in general has been to this post?
So I'm going to rewind a little bit to when all of the comments first happened. Um, I have been competing, like I said, since I was in high school, and this was just following the Miss Earth USA competition, where I placed in the top 12, and it was televised. So a lot of pageant fans across the world were able to see it. And that was the first time, like, I really got out there in a way that I hadn't before. I competed in swimsuit before, but now it was being seen by a significantly larger amount of people.
Mm,
And that is when the comments started flowing in, from all over the world. They were not directly on my page at first. They were under, like, fan pages. Um, they were leaving just the comments under the fan pages, but it was all about my weight. That's not something that should be in pageantry. Gross, disgusting, pig. Um, no
wow.
discipline, posting BMI charts, posting, um, just so many things about how disgusting it was to see my body in a swimsuit on a pageant stage, and the biggest takeaway was that I was promoting obesity. And I was so taken aback at first because my first thought was, what? Like, no, I'm not.
Mm,
I have worked so long and for so many years to really promote a healthy lifestyle, and having a family member that suffered from a really severe eating disorder, being able to embrace what I look like, um, and take care of myself and the body that I have and try to change it, because I feel that I need to, based on like the pressure of society, pressure of pageantry.
yeah.
And so I got upset at first, took a step back, realized it's the internet, and just stopped reading them and was just not going to address it at all. And because I didn't want to give it attention, I didn't want to say, oh, like, look what's happening to me, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But after seeing, after realizing that, staying silent wasn't really going to make the change that I wanted to make, being positive is great, and being positive about, my experiences and being body positive is extremely important. But I
Mm,
realized it was equally as important to show people that this isn't easy, and that this is happening, that people are
yeah.
still doing this and treating people like this and bullying people like this. And so I took a screenshot of some of the posts, and I just, created that little um image, I guess is what I made.
Yeah.
And just to show, just, this is what is happening. It's not easy, but change is not easy, and challenging norms isn't easy. So that was kind of the basis behind it. And as far as your question regarding the support and the comments I got from it, it was so positive. So many people shared it, so many people commented on it, and it was really rewarding deciding to post it, because I had so many reservations about posting it.
Mm.
And I really think it showed people that, pageantry, yes, it is becoming more inclusive, but there's still so much work that needs to be done.
How long was it from when you sort of first saw the comments to when you actually decided to post? Because I'm just looking at your post here, and as you
Hmm.
mentioned, I wasn't going to give this attention at any point, and I completely understand that because,
Hmm.
well, look, in 2020, a lot of us dealt with some very odd people. Let's just leave it at that.
Right,
And I was debating to myself whether I should address something, and then I didn't, and then it sort of boiled over, and I addressed it in probably not the best way.
right.
For yourself, what was a journey from seeing this stuff that you know is blatantly false or hurtful or was completely ignorant and is directed at you? How long was it from when you saw those comments to when you decided, actually, you know what, being silent is not an option?
It was over 2 months. It was a while, because I just thought, gotta kill them with kindness, keep just being, like I said, just keep being positive. It's the best thing. But I talked to a few close pageant friends as well. After I created it myself, and I sent it to them, and I'm like, what do you
Mm,
think? And they said, yes, this is so important. And I also saw, I was able to do an interview with the current Miss Australia Universe, right after I got home from Miss Earth USA.
yeah,
She had
yeah,
also posted something a little while back, sharing something that were said about her. And something that her and I had talked about right after Miss Earth USA was that we have a platform and a voice for a reason, and we can use that platform to implement change. And sharing exactly what's happening isn't going to be a negative. I was helped me realize it wasn't going to make me look bad, but instead bring light to just how life is, and how this is, and the reality of the situation. So yeah, I really, it took a while, because like I said, just thought the best thing to do, especially with social media, was just stay positive, and to pretend
yeah,
everything was fine. But, pretending can only go on for so long.
yeah. I agree. I think there's only so long that you can ignore something as well. 2 months, for those of you,
Mhm.
if you're fortunate enough to not have been bullied or got hate on the internet, which I don't think anyone has gotten off completely scot-free at this stage.
Right,
But 2 months is a long time to be dealing with it, whilst you've got life going on as well. And
right,
whilst you guys all work so hard to represent, especially in America, like Miss Earth, for example, it's such a competitive system. You do all that work, and to get that sort of hate from people who basically don't know you, don't care to
right.
know you, and just want to take swipes at you, it really does a
Mhm.
number on your mental health.
Yeah,
So I think kudos for actually saying something.
thank
Now,
you.
Frankie has said, "You are beautiful, Emma. Love from Scotland."
Oh, thank
And
you so
Rachel
much.
Lee Loftus has said, "Hello, guys. Hope you're having a great day." Also from Scotland. So you got the, you've got up the
Awesome.
Scots. You got the Scots joining
Yes,
in.
thank you so much for joining in.
Have you ever had the misfortune? And I'm joking here because I love the Scots, but have you ever had the misfortune of speaking to a Scot?
Like through typing, but not verbally. Like not,
Right.
you know what
Okay.
I
Okay.
mean?
Yeah, the accent doesn't come through in the typing normally,
No, so
but
that's
it's
yeah.
it's funny whenever I talk to an American and I ask them what accent do you find the hardest to understand. It's always inevitably the Scots.
Interesting.
Now, Emma, I've done a few sort of. I often ask my audience what's a topic they want me to discuss, and
Hmm.
the body image is a huge one.
Right.
And what I found is that it's not just from, let's say, the curvier girls or what they would sometimes call the plus-sized girls, at least in the
Hmm.
UK and Australia.
Hmm.
Very often, it's girls who you look at and you go, "Oh my God, like how can you have body image?" I mean, at least that's my first impression. I understand
Right.
that anyone can have body issues.
Hmm.
But just if I was to ask you a giant overarching question, and this is very unfair, but if I was to ask you, why is it that so many women have body image issues, regardless of how they actually look like? Because it's completely both ends of the spectrum. And there's
Hmm.
people such as yourself who've copped hate. I know someone who is very skinny, who used to be overweight and then became bulimic and now was extremely skinny. She went on a train and she got told that she should eat a burger. So she
Hmm.
got hate as well. Why do you think that, regardless of the body shape, women have these body image issues?
So I think it goes to just society and how women are raised. We're taught to basically hate ourselves um, in so many words. That's very harsh, but I think it's the reality of it.
I think
We're
it's
told
true.
we, from a very young age, are fed these images of what the perfect ideal body looks like, perfect ideal woman looks like, from her skin to her hair to her body. And we are made to feel that we must look that way, or we do not deserve respect, we do not deserve love, we don't deserve to feel beautiful. Um, Packing on all of that, the pressure from peers, the pressure from parents. I personally had a parent that was always telling me that I was gross, overweight, needed to be put on diets, etc.
Mm.
Or no one would like me, no one would ever want to be with me, I wouldn't be successful, etc. So there's lots of areas and lots of people in society that's all coming at you from all different angles when you're growing up. And it really feeds into our own self worth and makes just people in general, but very specifically women, feel that no matter what they look like, no matter what they do, they will still not be good enough. There's always something that
Mm.
needs to be fixed. So, like you said, even women that have what a lot of people view as a perfect body, they're conditioned to feel, okay, this looks good, but I still need to change this, this, and then this to be beautiful.
Yeah.
So taking a step back and saying, no, I'm going to just look how I look and still feel beautiful and confident is a really big slap in the face to all of these standards and expectations that have been put on women for so long. And I think that's why it's met with so much hate, because every single woman has been conditioned to never feel like they are good enough.
Yeah. I well said. I often feel that that's how they get people to buy things, specifically
Yes.
female oriented industries. there's not much money to be made in me saying you are beautiful just the way you are. I think there are
Right.
a lot of industries that would disappear overnight if women actually learn to not hate themselves. You spoke about, learning to love yourself and feeling confident, regardless of how you look. And if you want to go on a fitness journey, that's a separate conversation. The
Right.
emotional and physical journey are two separate conversations. But for yourself, are there any ways that you practice that sort of on a regular basis to help build your confidence or build the self-love or to feel good about yourself? Because there's a lot of people out there, as you said, that will want to break you down for one
Hmm.
reason or another. So how do you go around building yourself back up?
So I think the first and most important thing that I always want to address is that I don't feel amazing every single day. And I think that's an
Hmm.
unrealistic expectation that's going to feel great every single day. I have bad days, just like everybody. But I think it's all about what you do and where you go from those bad days. And you don't let it get into a perpetual cycle of negative self talk and negative
Mm,
feelings about yourself. Um, so when I start to feel down, I really remember what I'm doing to take care of myself, both mentally and physically. I make sure I'm eating foods that are going to sustain me and also
hmm
fuel my brain positively. In regards to just even finals week, I'm making sure I'm eating a lot of like leafy greens to help
Yeah.
my brain. Um, and and remember that it's not about eating a certain way just for your body to look good. It's
Mm,
about taking care of your body. And I think switching that mindset that it's not, oh, I need to exercise this much and eat this much to to reach this goal body, but instead to exercise and eat that way and practice self care to feel good and be just healthy on the inside first is the most important thing. And then just as far as emotion, I try to do something that's for me. If I'm not feeling, confident, I'm not going to go stand in front of the mirror for an hour and pick apart myself. I take myself away from the situation
yeah.
and do something that brings me joy. Like I make clay earrings for fun. I also like to paint and draw. I also like to shop. I do. It's one of my pastimes. So I go and do something for myself. I love spending time outside. And I also have chickens, so I go outside and you know, go in the chicken coop sometimes. Just take myself away from inward focus and focusing on
Yeah.
myself and my appearance and just taking a step back and doing something else so it doesn't like become an obsession. And then on a just a daily basis, reminding myself that my worth is not in the size of my clothes, my worth is not in
Mm.
having more fat than other people, or you know whatever, or if I have a blemish on my face, like my worth doesn't decrease because of those things. Like I'm still just as intelligent, worthy of respect and love as everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah. Can we back up to the chickens for just a second? Because literally, my parents have just, well, it's a second attempt at having chickens. The first attempt got
So is
eaten by a
mine.
fox.
Oh my
Right.
gosh.
What happened to your first attempt?
Yes, I always feel like it's a second attempt for everybody, to be honest. There's always something that goes wrong the first
Oh,
one.
good.
The first ones we got, it was kind of last minute, but there's these baby chicks at the store. They were really cheap, and we just thought we'd give them a try, and they were all sickly, so they unfortunately
Oh
died.
no.
But ours now are amazing. They're so healthy. They lay so many eggs. I have 8 cartons of eggs in my fridge that I need to go give away within the next few days.
There's a fundraiser right there, selling
Yeah, buy
fresh
my
eggs.
eggs. Uh,
What do you know what sort of chickens you have? Just by any chance?
no. So I bought them from someone that was moving from a farm to just a regular house, and she was selling all of her chickens. And they're 4 different breeds. I have 5 chickens, so 2 are the same breed.
Oh
2 are like
wow.
a reddish brown color with like floofs on their feet. One is a white and black, and it's got like this. fluff on the top of its head, and then I have a grayish one with white stripes, and then a black one with very small, like white stripes. But I unfortunately don't know the breeds. I need to do my research.
Oh, no,
But
that's okay. I get told what they are and I keep forgetting. How many? So you said you have five. How
mhm.
many eggs is that kind of on a weekly or daily basis with five
There's
chickens?
daily four is pretty regular. There's days that I've gotten three. There's days that I've gotten five. They all lay different color eggs, so I know which ones are laying that
Right.
day. So like the white one lays the white egg, and I
Hmm.
get a white egg sometimes once a day, but that's the one that's sometimes not there. The brown ones lay like a lighter brown, and then black ones, so black and gray, lay like a darker brownish one and a lighter brownish one. Isn't
Is
that
there anything that
interesting?
you can? Oh, I'm waiting for because the first batch, as I said, got eaten by we think a fox, and they never got to the
Yeah,
stage where they laid eggs. I love
right,
eggs, so I'm like, I want you guys to lay eggs. These
right.
guys aren't quite there yet. Hopefully, they're close, but they're very interesting animals. I don't
They
know if there's much you
are,
can do with them. Like the first
right.
ones that we had, they were kind of you couldn't really pick them up. They don't like being picked
Hmm.
up. These ones, when you pick them up, my brother, who's a vet, told me, "Oh, they love being picked up." And it's like I don't think it's like they love being picked up. It's like you pick them up and they just give up and they just sit there. And these ones love being well, they do because I have a cat
Yeah,
as well, and he loves being picked up. But these
right.
ones, you pick them up and they just sort of give up on life. But they're very
Yes.
interesting because every time I go down now, they come up to me because they want to be fed. It's
Right.
very different to the first two. These ones, you wave leaves at them, and they'll follow you everywhere in the only way that chickens can. Is it? Do
Hmm.
you play with? This is a weird question, but do you play with your chickens? Like, is there anything that you can do with yours, or do they just eat and lay eggs,
No,
basically?
I feel like my experience has been so similar to yours in that our first chickens were super like don't want anything to do with you,
Yeah, yeah,
whatever. But these ones, so I we have this full enclosure that we like fenced in because we wanted them free range, but not like the whole expanse of the yard.
yeah.
Um, and so we spent all this time building this huge enclosure. They have their hutch, and I go outside one day, and there's two of them are standing on the door, and they're down. So those two now have free range of the yard, and they just put themselves
Right.
back. But I don't like play with them necessarily, but I'll pick them up sometimes. They're really, I don't know. One of them kind of likes attention. I think she'll come up and she like
Yeah.
wants to be picked up. I think because she
You
lets
sure
it
she doesn't just
happen.
want food?
Oh,
You sure
but
she
she
doesn't just
has
want food?
food. So I'm not really
Well,
sure.
these
I
ones
like,
have food too. They have a giant feeder, and they still
yeah,
come up to me and follow me everywhere.
I don't know. I think, yes, they probably do just want food, but for my own self-esteem, I think she wants me to pick her.
That's fair enough. Self-love. Go get a chicken. You got
Even if it's
eight
chicken, she
cartons.
loves me.
You got
What?
8 cartons of eggs just waiting
Yes.
to do.
Yeah, because I mean, we cook eggs, but not at the rate they lay them. So yeah, I need to figure out a plan. My mom likes eggs a lot, so I'm definitely keeping her fully stocked with eggs. Um, but
Right.
it is a whole experience. It's been really fun though. It's really cool to just like go out there and open up the hutch and there's all the eggs waiting, and they're not protective over their eggs. People say that they get really aggressive when they
I've heard
like
that.
but
Yeah.
they're not. They just leave them. They don't even sit on them. They're like they call it good.
Oh,
They lay it and walk away.
that might be different depending on the different breeds, because I've heard
That's
that these
true.
ones are pretty protective of their eggs. So I'm fully
Really.
expecting when they lay for the first time that I reach
Uh-huh.
to get them and they're going to peck me. Because
Yeah,
that's what they did. That was my first experience with them. They came up to me and pecked me, and I was like, I thought these ones were supposed
interesting.
to be the friendly ones, and it pecked me.
Right.
It
You're
doesn't
like, what
hurt,
happened?
mind you. Yeah, exactly. Like, what did I do to you? But I mean, look, I think you could do a fundraiser if you have that many eggs. Just sell.
If only
I
eggs
mean,
sold for like $100 each, that would be ideal. Because
I
it's,
don't know. You can maybe autograph them, put your
right.
signature on them, autographed eggs.
Right. The pageant world knows that pageants are expensive. So we're always
Yes.
looking for fundraisers. We're always looking for everything.
Do you have? this is the last chicken-based question I'll ask you. Do
It's
you
turning
do you
into
have a
chicken hour.
do you have? I can't believe you have chickens. I'm literally like at the. My mum might be actually downstairs now letting them out because it's just
Uh-huh.
come sunlight, and when you
Right.
don't let them out, they're at the door and they're going peck peck. Let me
They
out,
have
let
a
me out, let me
fit.
out, let me
I
out. It's like
know.
chill, just guys,
Calm
chill. It's all right.
down.
Yeah. But do you have a favorite? I'm not going to ask you a favorite chicken recipe. That's very on the nose. But do you have a favorite? Literally, I came up and there was chicken for lunch, and I paused and I'm like, I don't feel right about this. Like I've literally just
Right.
gone downstairs to
And
open it
how
up and
them?
feed them. Yeah, and then you come up and you're eating one, and I'm just like, you have that moment when you go, this doesn't seem right. But
This feels wrong.
egg recipe. Do you have a favorite egg recipe? What do you do with all
So
the eggs?
we've been making omelets. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. I personally have not made one yet, but my mom loves to make quiches. So it's like the pie
Okay.
crust with like the egg mixture.
No.
I'm gonna actually try that probably this week. Um, because I think it's so good. I just have not made one yet, but omelets are the easiest go-to. I just grab like whatever vegetables are in the fridge and throw it in there, and it's a whole meal.
That sounds good. Sounds good. So we've talked about chickens. You've talked about your love
Omelets.
for shopping.
Yep.
Just in general, is there anything else you do for fun, hobbies wise, to not when you're during finals, because you probably don't get to do anything for fun. I
Right.
don't know, but is there anything else that you do to keep yourself happy, fresh, whatever it is?
I love to be outside. So Wisconsin and Illinois are both cold states. So I'm in Wisconsin for the summer and then Illinois during school. So coming summer, there's a lot of lakes. So we will spend a lot of time on the lake in the sun, hiking, etc. When I'm in Illinois, going, to the city, Chicago is always
Mhm.
really fun. And going by the lake. Um, yeah, I love being outside and doing just whatever I can outside, and spending time with friends and family. I spend my time with people whenever I have free time. I love being around
Yeah,
people and surrounding myself with people that I care about. It also made, COVID especially hard because I
yeah.
couldn't see people that I really cared about. So really, the fact that I'm able to see people now is really great for me.
It's interesting that you mention Wisconsin. I mean, it's not interesting. It's obvious why you would mention it because you live there. But it's one of the few states that I've actually spent a deal of time in. I've spent a deal of time in Milwaukee,
Oh yeah.
because I was working as a tennis coach. Yeah, and the biggest
Oh,
YouTube
cool.
tennis channel in the world is based out of Milwaukee. Have you spent any
Really?
time in Milwaukee, like in the middle of the city?
Yes. So my best friend went to Milwaukee. My mom got her or is getting her PhD in Milwaukee right now. Um,
Oh wow, okay.
yeah. So I definitely have. Um, I yeah, I've spent many, many days, times, everything. And I actually, if I'm going to downtown Chicago and I am coming from Wisconsin, I drive through Milwaukee. Um, so lots of experience in Milwaukee.
Nice, nice. I remember I got there the first time, and the first thing that my friend did me, picked me up from the airport, took me into downtown Milwaukee, and gave me beer battered cheese. Is that a thing? Beer battered
Yes.
cheese curd.
Cheese curds, yeah.
And I was like, I
Yep.
eat fairly healthily, so I'm like, Kirby, this is going to kill me. And a beer, and by the way, the beer was like 7 or 8%. It was like the alcohol content of wine, and it was, the size of my head and then some. So I was like,
Yep.
that's because Milwaukee is famous for cheese, right? Or they love their
The
cheese,
whole state. So like in
right?
Wisconsin, you can get cheese curds at literally every restaurant. Like the fried cheese curds
Yeah,
everywhere. Every
yeah.
single place. I've never I mean, even Illinois for the most part has lots of places in the United States actually just have a lot of cheese curds, but especially Wisconsin. Um, but it's yeah, and beer, alcohol, always in Wisconsin as well, and Chicago, definitely both worlds are kind of combined in a way that people don't always like realize, but they're right next to each other. Um,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Well, Chicago is the home of my favorite pizza. What
Yes.
was it? It's Giordano's. I think it's called
Mm-hmm.
Giordano's, and they have this deep dish Chicago pizza.
Yes.
I've never eaten anything like it in my life. That's actually making me wish I was in Chicago. Um,
Yes.
Em- Emma, just before we go to the close and the final 10 questions, is there anyone that you want to give a shout out to for supporting you along your journey in life and pageantry in general?
Oh my gosh, so many people have helped me and encouraged me throughout this many years. My mom, of course, always have to shout out the mom. My friend Alyssa Cleansing. Andrea has really helped me. Andrea Jabal, who's the current New York USA, has really helped me in preparing for competing. And just so many friends. I literally could list this for so long, but just so
Yeah,
many people in the pageant community, so many people that have reached out to me and just sent me messages of support that I don't even know.
yeah,
We talked a lot about negativity, but I've also received so much positivity from people across the world, and that's been really life changing. And I have some amazing people that reached out to me to sponsor me. I'm going to be announcing different sponsorships as we get closer to the pageant that believe in me and have believed in me so much so that they would like to, sponsor me in competing. And I think that's been really just rewarding to know that people believe in me that much.
amazing. You guys do, it's like the Academy Awards acceptance speech. You do have a list of people that you need to thank, and you always
Yes,
forget someone's. So I always say,
exactly.
just you know who you are. That's what I teach the girls to say, just you know who you are, because then you never miss anyone, that one person, and they get offended.
Yes.
Um, All right, let's go through the final 10 questions. We finish all
Okay.
interviews with the same 10 questions. It's not a speed
Okay.
round, but if you're feeling like you want to blitz through this as practice for your finals, then by all means go for it. So, question one, what is your favorite word?
Amazing. I use it all the time. It's like I also use like a lot, but amazing whenever I'm describing something in Instagram post, I'm typing amazing and I'm saying to myself, stop typing this word, but every single time it comes out and I need a thesaurus for amazing. I need all words.
It's so funny you mentioned that word, because that's the one word that I know I use too much, particularly when I'm in an interview and I don't know what to say. I just default to saying amazing whilst my brain thinks for the next question. So I
Amazing.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, after someone tells you something really emotional, like amazing, and then you go, it's like, yeah, I need a thesaurus as well. All right, question two, what's your least favorite word?
Oh gosh. Everyone has got me on the moist train of not liking the word moist.
The moist train. That's a horrible train to be on. The moist train.
The
Oh, okay.
worst possible analogy, right? The worst word.
I will say that moist is the most common, out of any of the questions, the most common answer to any of the questions is that moist, but I've never heard anyone of jumping on the moist train. You might want to get off the moist
The
train.
moist
It's, yeah.
train, it sounds so bad. It's disgusting.
Oh, yeah. All stops to Moist Town. Let's move on. Question three. Oh, dear me. Question three. In life, what gets you excited? What turns you on?
Getting to go on vacation. I love traveling so much, and I cannot wait. My family has a road trip planned for the end of May, right after school is up, and we are going to some national parks and just spending time with each other. And I'm so excited. I love traveling. So anytime there's traveling, I get very excited.
Yeah, not too much happened of that in 2020, that's for sure.
I know,
Uh, yeah, not
no,
a good
I
time
know.
to love traveling. Hopefully,
I
it's
know.
coming back soon.
The worst time to love traveling. Literally the worst time.
So that was what turns you on. What about question four? What turns you off?
I hate organizing. I hate like not cleaning. I don't mind cleaning, but like if things are just like messy, like disarray, I don't like I hate having to go and like organize them all, or like organize my closet, or organize my desk, but I also don't want it messy. So it's a really like internal battle with
Fine
myself.
area, just
You what?
slightly messy.
Yes.
It sounds
Yes.
like you got a really fine line between where you need to be. Like it can't be too organized, but it also can't be
Right.
too messy. So,
Right. So like if
okay,
it gets too messy, I've got to just suck it up and I've got to do it. But if it's a little messy, it's okay.
okay, got it. Question 5. What sound or noise do you love?
I love the sound of waves and like waves crashing on the shore. It's absolutely my favorite sound. When I have gone to the ocean, I've actually just recorded, I've like laid on the beach and just recorded
Yeah.
it myself because like when you look up ocean recordings, it's like great, but like when I have it myself, like I
Mm.
also have the memory with it. So I have recordings of the ocean on my phone, and it's just the most calming and relaxing and beautiful thing to me. I bet I
What
can
about
guess the
what
next
sound?
question.
Yes, you've noticed that these go in pairs. What sound? You are a lawyer. What sound or noise do you hate?
Chalk. Oh much. I hate chalk. Oh no.
You mean the risk of it being a bit squeaky?
But like I just have like an aversion to chalk. I think it's so weird. I'm super weird, but the squeaking is like the worst. But I just don't like chalk at all.
That's fair enough. I don't think any of us like breathing in clouds and clouds of dust. I remember when the teachers used to bang the
Ugh,
erasers together and just be
yeah,
this whole cloud, and you're just there going, I don't think it's healthy for me to breathe that in somehow. So you'd be
yeah.
holding your breath.
Feel like
Okay,
chemicals. Yeah.
yeah. Standalone question. So this one doesn't have another one, but what
Okay.
if you could have any one superpower, what would you pick and why?
Oh, that's a hard one. Probably teleportation. So I could just, I hate, like, I know this, I'm very contradictory because I love traveling, but I hate the
Yes.
traveling part
Yeah.
of traveling. So if I could just bam,
Yeah.
bam,
Just
bam,
yeah. Okay.
and then as well as like I could wake up and just bam, be right in class. Like I wouldn't need to do the whole get ready, commute, all of that. Like I could just be there, be back, be there. And I feel like I would save so much time.
That, that sounds fair. Question 8. What job or occupation, other than your own, would you most like to attempt?
I have always been told I should be an actress. Um, so that would be cool. But of course, everyone wants to do that. So that's why we have other things that we do, like go to law school. But if I could just, snap my fingers and do anything, I would be an actress.
And what job would you definitely not like to attempt?
I am just super uncoordinated, I guess is the best way to describe it. So, like any kind of trade job, I would be horrible at. Like trying to imagine myself doing like electricity or welding, I would be so bad. I would just be terrible. Um, don't let me do that.
Okay, if I ever see you out and about and you're doing something like plumbing, I'll get you to stop.
Because it would
Final
be so bad.
question.
I'd be like,
Final question. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
oh wow. I think I would like to hear him say, "You get to come. You get to
You get
come
to
into
come in.
heaven."
You don't have to go down to the alternative.
That'd be like the first thing, and the next thing, like I would hope he says, like, "Here is your like perfect heaven, and here's all your family that's passed, and your pets that have passed,
Yeah.
and everybody's here." And it's gonna get emotional, but yeah.
Oh, it's supposed to be a thought-provoking question. So there you go. All right, Emma, that's just about it. Let me circle back to the comments one more time. Ralph, who's over in America, has said, Emma, I wish you the best of luck as you compete for Miss Illinois, and I wish you continued success with a four-leafed clover.
Thank
And
you.
Kaylee Ann has written, woohoo, Emma.
Thank
Nice,
you.
short and sweet. Well, Emma, thank you for coming on. I know obviously you're busy with finals, but thank you for making
Always
time.
busy.
It's been amazing getting to chat to you.
Yes, it's been such a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. It was super fun. I'm super glad we got to do it.
And thank you to everyone for watching, whether it's live or on the replay. Emma, I'll keep you on the line for just a second whilst I hang up with the audience. But we will see you next time. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching. Just a reminder to you entrepreneurial types to come and join us at our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/The Pageant Boss. I'll see you inside and see you in the next episode.